Alright everyone, in this session we'll explore the commonly used attributes related to HTML tables. We'll continue writing the code from the last lesson. Let's start with the first attribute, border. As mentioned in the previous lesson, setting border equals 1 adds a 1 pixel border to the table. If you set it to 0, all the cells and the table itself will have no borders, essentially making it the same as not specifying the border attribute at all. Now, let's look at an interesting case. If I set border to 10, what do you think it means? Conventionally, you might assume this. Both the table's outer border and the internal cell borders would be 10 pixels wide. But when you save and preview it, you'll see that the border only affects the outer border of the table, while the internal cell borders remain 1 pixel wide. So if the border value is greater than 1, like for example 5, it only changes the table's outer border's width, and the internal cell borders stay at 1 pixel. Using the border attribute in the table tag, we cannot adjust the internal cell borders. Once we learn CSS later, we'll be able to make detailed adjustments to any border, including its color, thickness, and whether it's solid or dashed. Next is the width attribute, which controls the table's width. For example, if I set it to 500, it means the table will have an overall width of 500 pixels. Notice how the table becomes wider, and I need to shrink the browser window to see it entirely. Now, a question. Does each column in the table evenly share the 500 pixel width? Actually, it doesn't. You can observe that the first few columns are narrower than the last column, with the ID column being the narrowest. Why is that? By default, the width of each column is determined by the width of its text content. Columns with wider content are allocated more width. After width, let's talk about height. If we add the height attribute to the table tag and set it to 300, you'll notice something interesting when I save it. Please observe the changes in height for the table header, the table body, and the table footer. Ready? 3, 2, 1, save. Did you see that although the overall table height is controlled, the heights of the header and footer remain unchanged? Only the table body cell heights adjust, affecting the overall height. We'll discuss how to control the header and the footer heights later. For now, let's finish the attributes of the table tag. The next attribute is cell spacing, which controls the spacing between cells. If I set cell spacing to 0 and save, the gaps disappear. If I set it to 10, the gaps become larger, right? However, I want to emphasize that setting cell spacing equals 0 does not merge the borders. It simply removes the space between them. You can zoom in to see. This is the right border of the left cell, and this is the left border of the right cell. They are not merged. They are just adjacent, with 0 spacing between them. To merge borders, we'll need CSS later. Alright, that covers the 4 commonly used table attributes: border, width, height, and cell spacing. Now let's move on. The caption tag will be revisited later when we learn CSS, as its styling is controlled through CSS. For now, we will skip it. Next, let's look at t-head. Among the 4 common attributes we just covered for table, only height can be applied to t-head. The other 3, border, width, and cell spacing, are ineffective on t-head. Let's test this by copying these 3 attributes to t-head. Border equals 10, width equals 1000, and cell spacing 520. Save and preserve the changes in the header section. Any changes? No, right? So t-head does not support these 3 attributes. What about height? Let's test it by adding height to t-head and saving. You'll notice the height of the header section changes. However, here's something interesting. Earlier, we set height equals 300 on table, which means the overall table height is 300 pixels. Now, we've set height equals 300 on head as well, creating a conflict. Which one takes precedence? The t-head section takes precedence and becomes 300 pixels tall, while the table's height of 300 pixels now acts as a minimum height rather than a fixed height. Next, let's introduce the align attribute for t-head. It controls the horizontal alignment of text within t-head cells. Options include left-aligned, center-aligned, and right-aligned. If the align attribute is omitted, the default alignment is center. Similarly, there's vertical alignment, controlled by v-align, where options include top, middle, and bottom. Here, I'll set it to horizontally center aligned and vertically middle aligned, and set height to 50. Move on to t-body. The commonly used attributes for t-body are the same as those for t-head. They are height, align, and v-align. Let's test height. Setting it to 50, no change. Setting it to 100, still no change. Setting it to 200, still no change. What's happening? Does t-body not support height? Actually, it does. The reason for no changes is that early we set the table's minimum height to 300 pixels. Let's break it down. The t-head height is 50, and the t-foot height is approximately half of t-head, around 25 pixels. Adding these, we get 75 pixels. The table's minimum height is 300 pixels, so the remaining height for t-body must be at least 225 pixels. Setting t-body to 50, 100, or 200 pixels, all of which are less than 225, has no effect. Only when t-body is set to a height greater than 225 will you see changes. Let's test with 300. Now it changes. So height is a valid attribute for t-body. Next is align. Let's set it to center for center alignment. and then to right for right alignment. These work. However, note that the default alignment for T-head was center, whereas the default for T-body is left. Similarly, V-align also works for vertical alignment with options top, middle, and bottom. Now, let's discuss T-foot. The commonly used attributes for T-foot are the same as those for T-head and T-body: height, align, and V-align. You can directly apply these. Next, we'll discuss TR, TH, and TD. Let's start with TR. This represents a row. Both T-head and T-body have TR. Let's select a TR. For example, the one containing Alex. The attributes for TR are the same as those for T-head and T-body. Once again, height, align, and V-align. Setting height to 30 reduces the row's height. Similarly, alignment can be adjusted. Setting align to left and V-align to bottom works as expected. Finally, TH and TD. These represent cells. TH for header cells and TD for body cells. Both share the same attributes. Let's use the cell containing Alex as an example. The width attribute can be applied to single cell. If I set width equals 50, notice that the entire column's width adjusts to 50 pixels. Adjusting the height of Alex to 100 changes the entire row's height to 100 pixels. Interestingly, even if TR has a height of 30, while TD is set to 50, the larger value 50 takes precedence. Similarly, if TR is set to 100, it overrides the smaller value set in TD. For align and V-align, the rules differ. If both TR and TD specify these attributes, the cell alignment follows TD. For other cells in the same row, if TD doesn't specify alignment, they follow TR. With this, we've covered the commonly used attributes of table-related tags. Remember, it's not necessary to memorize everything. If you can memorize all of this, that's great. But if not, that's fine. In real-world development, most of these table effects are achieved through CSS. However, it's still important to learn these attributes, as you may encounter them in existing projects. Have a general idea and you'll be fine. Let's take a look at the notes for this lesson. 23. I have organized all the tags related to tables, including their semantics, attributes, and key points to note. Everything else has been covered in this lesson, but there are two attributes I didn't explain this time: row span and colon span in TD tag. These two attributes are used for spanning rows and columns, respectively. we'll introduce in the next lesson. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next lesson.